What is up, YouTubers? Today I am going to be showing you something very cool. I am going to show you how to make your very own Tron lights. Okay guys, so there are going to be just a few items you need to complete this project. The first item is going to be some super glue. I recommend clear super glue because of course you're not going to want to see it under your lights. You'll try and get the cleanest look as possible. You'll need 2 AA batteries per unit. Now these units, they come separately in lengths of 3 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet, and 15 feet. Of course you're not going to need that much. I recommend using 2 separate units because that's how I'm going to run it, so that you have a distinct look on both sides of the helmet. It's aesthetically pleasing. You'll also need a pair of scissors to cut the electrical tape. You are going to need some electrical tape if you're going to do this the way I'm doing it. And finally, some pliers to help you cut through the wire. I would like to add that to do this project, you don't necessarily have to buy blue lights. These also come in yellow, pink, red, orange, clear, and maybe even a few other colors that I'm forgetting. Okay, so the problem that we have here is that for each light of string, or string of light, there is 1 battery pack. We obviously just want to make that 1 battery pack. So we're going to cut the battery pack off of one of these string lights, and we want to do so after the adapter that goes to the battery pack and before where the light starts. So we're going to take the pliers and we're going to give ourselves plenty of lead here. Just grab 1 wire at a time, give it a little snip. And there you go. Now we have a spare battery pack. You can save that for any other project you might have. Now that we have just 1 battery pack and both strings of lights, we have to do a little bit more cutting. So we're going to use a method called splicing. If anybody's ever done car stereos or anything like that, where you're using 1 power source for 2 external units of whatever it is you're doing. You've got to cut both of them, and then you use some electrical tape or some solder maybe to connect the 2 different components that you're trying to splice together. So again, we want to separate this wire, and we're going to cut this again. Okay, so I've got my 2 lengths of wire here, and I just wanted to emphasize that you want to make sure that these are the same length. So go ahead and take both light ropes and hold them up next to each other so that your splice point's going to be the same length. Make sure those are the same, eye it up real good, and you can go ahead and chop those. Now you can see I've already not spliced, but I've already stripped these ends of the wire. You can use wire cutters for that. This is some really thin wire strippers, but I'm going to go ahead and show you really quick that it's not necessary. You can go ahead and just give it a light pinch in a circle with the pliers you're using. Be very, very careful not to cut the wire, and you just tug lightly, and now you've exposed that copper lead. And then you'll go ahead and do the same with the other wire. Now once you have these leads stripped clean, you want to take the copper wire, because it's little bits of separate copper, I don't know if you can see that, and twist them so that you make 1 solid copper wire. Now what I'm about to show you is very, very important. It's absolutely crucial to this working properly. So I got a flashlight here to show you. One of these wires has a white stripe on it, and the other one does not. The white stripe is the negative lead. You want to make sure, be absolutely certain, that when you tape these 2 pieces of wire together, you're putting the white line with the white line and the solid black with the solid black. You will want positive and positive put together because the flow of current from your battery pack is going to be going through these wires in the same direction. So in the electrical world, you will think negative to positive and positive to negative. That's usually true. That's just indicating, completing the circuit. But for this, we're actually making a parallel circuit out of something that was originally just a series circuit. So when you do this, just make sure that that white line right there is connected to the other white line when you tape them together, and I'll show you that now. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, we've got all of our leads stripped clean and they're ready to be twisted together. The first thing we're going to do is get these wires nice and neat. You don't want the wires dangling about all over the place. It gets really annoying. Just make sure everything's nice and neat. Grab both of your light strings, and again you're going to want to verify that you're twisting the white line or the negative lead with the other white line. Line those up together really nice. Just kind of fold the positive leads out of the way for now, just so that you don't accidentally mix them up. So I have the two negative leads, and if you can see that there, I'm just going to put them together and twist them. Alright, now that we have the two negative leads winded together and the two positive leads winded together, we're going to use a similar concept, the same concept actually, winding together the battery pack. And this is just as simple. There's an optional soldering step here. Instead of using tape like I did, you could solder these together if you have the skills and the equipment. Now for a bit of fun. Now that you have all of the negatives grouped together and all of the positives grouped together neatly, before you even tape them, just make sure that you've done it right by inserting your batteries into the pack, and go ahead and hit that on button, and as you can see, you'll know you've done it correctly because the rope is lighting up. Okay, so for fear of leaving anything out, I'm going to show you I just neatly tucked the wires over and under until there was just a little bit of a knot of copper there. And this will make it a lot easier to tape. You just do that to get them nice and neat and out of the way. Remember, everything here is about neatness. The better you can do this, the cleaner it is going to look for you in the long run. The good news is, if you can't get your tape job very neat, which as you can see, it's very difficult to get the tape in between these two wires and individually wrap them. The good news is, it doesn't have to be a perfect tape job on the inside, just as long as it isolates these two leads and it doesn't allow the positive lead to touch the negative. The reason is, now that we have both of these individually taped and we know that there's rubber insulating both of them, we're going to smash them together, take a little bit more of rubber tape, and we're going to wrap all the way around this. And this has two benefits. It's a little more insulation, and it's going to help keep the elements out. Okay guys, here comes the somewhat challenging but kind of fun part. Time to glue it to your helmet. I'm sure you can figure out how to glue something, but it always helps to have a little bit of advice. So I've got my Loctite super glue here, and basically all I've done is I'll go probably every 2 to 3 inches depending on whether or not we're doing a straight run or some curves, and I'll pull it tight. My last glue point was right here, So I'll just make sure that it's nice and straight. I did pull the wire nice and tight a few times just to straighten it out because it comes pretty curled up. And with the glue, I'll go ahead and put a bead down, about 3/8 to maybe even a 1/2 inch long bead of glue. And you'll just hold that down tight. This is if you're using super glue, of course. You could always hot glue gun it. That's how I did my last job, but it didn't turn out quite as neat as this is. It helps to go very light on the glue. You'll find that your job's going to look a lot neater once you're done and it's all dried up if you go light. So be sure not to overdo it and get too ambitious with your glue. Now that we've got our lights glued on properly, and I would like to clarify that took me about 30 minutes per side to do. The glue is still setting up. It will become sticky very quickly, but just know that it will take some time to cure. Okay, so after your installation of the lights on your helmet, you're going to want to turn the lights off, plug your battery pack in, and make sure that you didn't kink the line anywhere and damage your lights. So we still have this clunky battery pack to deal with, which really it's pretty low profile. It's not too bad to deal with. You can get creative and mount this in a couple of different ways, but my helmet has these little holes on the plastic lining that holds the inside padding to the helmet. I chose to use zip ties, and I just simply run them through these holes. Now I take my battery pack and mount it this way. That reason is because I can reach back with my clutch hand. I never have to take my hand off the brake and the accelerator and turn them on when I feel that it's dark enough to turn them on. The battery pack is mounted and it's down out of the way. I have long hair and I believe it would get caught in these zip ties, so I'll just come back with my scissors and neatly trim each one. Again, we're going for a clean, neat look here. And it's as simple as that. Now you're ready to go out and enjoy a nice night ride, knowing that you'll be safe and visible to other motorists, and you'll get plenty of looks while you're doing it. Thanks again for watching, guys. This is KneeBreeze216. If you enjoyed watching my Tron light helmet mod, be sure to subscribe and like the video. And if you'd like to have the same lights I purchased, you can find a link in the description below. Be safe out there riding and enjoy all the looks from your new Tron lights.